Alright, so this is part 2 of the German course A1 level. Um, just, before I start anything, if anybody is going to comment on this, I'm going to kill you guys. I'm just actually practicing some HTML shit, so I'm using it. But I got a bunch of other browsers. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. German. So we left it here. Personal pronomen nominative. So it's just, the basic shit like I, you, he, she, and so on. In German, that would be ich, du, er, sie, es. It stands for like ich, which is you. It's the same order. Du, which is ich, I, du, you, er, he, sie, she, es, it. And for we, it's wir, which is right here. And then you have you, in plural, of course, which is here. That's ihr in German. And then you have they, which is sie. But be careful because sie can also be like the polite form of you when you're addressing somebody politely, or you don't know them, you address them with sie. That's something you should note. As for the rest, you already know how to conjugate this stuff from our previous course, part 1. That should be like trinken, which is drinking. That becomes ich trinke, du trinkst, er trinkt, sie trinkt, es trinkt. Wir trinken, ihr trinkt, sie trinken. If you can notice that here it's basically the same stuff. We just add an T. As for here, we add an E. As for here, we add an ST. And for wir, we leave it as it is, trinken. And for ihr, it's more like here, er, sie, es. And for sie, trinken, that's also en at the end. And also the polite form, which is not written here yet, it's also en at the end. So here we have a few examples of what do you learn. Was studierst du? It's like to make a question, you just have to switch those. Du studierst. I don't know what you're learning. Du studierst. So, for example, Deutsch. And if I want to ask you, I'm gonna go like, studierst du Deutsch? If I know what you're learning and I want to like confirm it, studierst du Deutsch? Or if I don't know, I'm just gonna go like, what are you learning? Was studierst du? Was, it's what. And it goes on like that for the rest of the conjugations. And here we have an example with Carlos. Sorry, I hit the microphone. Carlos hören Musik. So Carlos listening music. What can we do with this? Carlos hört Musik. But here we have to form a question based on the example. So that should become like, hört Carlos? Ja, hört Musik. Or hört Carlos Musik? Ja, hört Musik. It's a dumb example, I know, but you don't have to focus too much on that. Let's focus on learning instead of, judging on complicating stuff. Here we have another example with Frau weiß. Frau is ma'am. It's like ma'am. It's to address people that way. In this example, you could say ma'am, or you could say like Mrs. Weiss. Arbeiten. So Mrs. Weiss and working. What does it become? Mrs. Weiss works. So Frau Weiss arbeitet. Remember we did et at the end for these kind of special, verbs. And here we continue with another example. Peter reden. Peter is a name, reden is to talk. So Peter redet. And so on, like you just continue the example. Here we have another Übung, Übung 2. So we got first example, Herr, which is Mr. Schneider, very German, you know. Herr Schneider, wo we have to conjugate it in München. Ist Lehrer. Here we know that it's a he. So what do we do? What do we do here? Wohnt. So Herr Schneider wohnt in München. How do we know? You just add an wohnt here. If you remember, he lives. Here again, Herr Schneider trinkt here. You see, you could just cheat here and get the answer. So Herr Schneider trinkt Wasser. Trinkt kein Bier. You just add this here. Why? Because he's a he, so you should add Here another example, our last one for this exercise. Wohnt Herr Schneider in München? Ja. What do we add here? So he lives in München. Wohnt in München. So that becomes wohnt in München. And so on. It's very easy stuff, you know. If you speak English already, this is going to be very basic for you. And then we have another Übung. I'm just gonna do one to move on to Hauptsätze and other. Wo wohnt Carlos? Wohnt in Rome. Where lives Carlos? He lives in Rome. Another stupid example. Wie heißt die Studenten? Wie, it's how. Called, this is called, because heißen is to be called. Wie heißt die Studenten? The students. So the student, this is the feminine form. Wie heißt die Studenten? Heißt Maria. We already know that Maria is a female name, but die Studenten confirms it, like it's a female form of student. So sie heißt Maria, and so on. Let's now go to Vorstellungen, Hauptsätze, and Fragsätze. That's like main phrase, question phrase, that sort of thing. We're just gonna learn about how to order that stuff. Alright, so we got Maria. Maria kommt aus Rom. Aus Rom kommt Maria. Same stuff. It's the verb in here. Maria comes from Rome. From Rome comes Maria. Another Beispiel. Wir lernen Deutsch. Deutsch lernen wir. It's the same stuff. So we learn German. German we learn. German learn we here. But in English it should be like German we learn. Ich komme morgen. Why ich komme? Because I have an ich here. So I just add an e. Maria, was studiert? Informatik. Du wohnst in Passau, and so on. Of course, you can make this like this form of it in your textbook, but not here. I can't do it. Another Beispiel. Clara wohnen. Clara in Vienna. So Clara living Clara in Vienna. So Clara lives in Vienna, or in Vienna lives Clara. Same stuff. Hören wir Musik. Wir hören Musik, oder Musik hören wir. And you continue like that. So Fragen mit Fragwort. So to answer with an word answer. So sorry, to question with a question word. Anna studiert Medizin. Wer studiert Medizin? Wer, it's who studies medicine. It's Anna. What Anna studies. Was, it's the what if you remember. And this is how. Wir. So wer studiert Medizin? Anna. Was studiert Anna? Medizin. Wie heißt die Studenten? Anna. What what is called the student female form, Anna. What studies Anna? She studies medicine, so medicine. And who studies medicine? It's Anna. So the example here we have what. So was machst du? What do you do? What are you doing? Ich lerne Deutsch. I'm learning German. Kauft Brot. Carlos kauft Brot. So we have kaufen, which is to buy. Brot is bread. So bread was bought. So the question is, that was bought by whom? So wer kauft Brot? Carlos kauft Brot. Carlos bought bread. Heißt die Lehrerin. So if you remember, called. So how called? The teacher. So should go like, wie heißt die Lehrerin? So sie heißt Frau Lehrmann. The last example for this Beispiel, we go trinkt Paul. Paul Bier. So what do we do here? Take a guess. Was trinkt Paul? Because we have the answer here. So Paul trinkt Bier. Alright, so we get this example done, and I think we're ready to move on to the next step. I have to check. Alright, so we do this last one, okay? So we have a quick example here of was ist das? Because we don't know. So what is that? Was ist das? We added was here. So bought cheese. Käse is cheese. So cheese was bought. Question is by whom? So we add an wer. Wer kauft Käse? So kauft Peter Käse. Kauft Peter Käse. So the question is here, kauft Peter Käse. So the cheese was bought by Peter. So the question is, we can go like with many questions, but we're gonna try to stick with wer, was, wie. As you can see here in this example, we cannot move too much forward. So we go like, wie kauft Peter Käse? And here we have komm der Käse. What do we have here? What can we say about the cheese? Wie kommt der Käse? You understand the logic, like how came the cheese, but it's a question of German phrasing. Sometimes it's weird when you actually just translate it to English. You have to understand the sense of the sentence here in German, like German wise. Now we have aus Frankreich. If you have noticed, for all of these we have the answers here, so we should like now see our answers if they actually are correct with the context here. Of course we can come up with anything, but they have to be correct with the context. We go like with the first one. We said was ist das? We said das ist Käse. That's the answer. So yeah, it is was. So Peter kauft Käse. That is, wer kauft Käse? It's Peter. So so I think we should move on. Im Supermarkt kauft Peter Käse. It's not actually here wer, was, wie. We actually should learn something new. It's called wo. It's where Peter bought the cheese. Unfortunately, that word is not here yet, but I can just type it down here in find, and you can know how to write it. So wo, that is where in German. So wo kauft Peter Käse? Im Supermarkt, in the supermarket. So the other question is, where comes the answer is from France, aus Frankreich. So our question should be like woher kommt der Käse? Why? It's kind of complicated. We have to learn this stuff to be able to answer this part right here, okay? So when you actually come from someplace, the question should be like woher? You see, aus Ägypten, from Germany, so we should form it with woher kommt der Käse? It's very simple, but we're going to focus on this stuff later, okay? Now we are not going to do the rest of these because we are going to leave it as an exercise. So here's a screenshot for you for this course so that you can learn it on your own, but I'm going to do it in the next video and then answer the rest of these questions, okay?